Yo guys, Rumblin Man here today, and in this video, I'm going to react to my most ever viewed video on YouTube, which is several years old. So make sure you stick with me. So guys, I welcome you to the Rumblin Man channel today. This is a guitar and bass channel where we look at basses, guitars, related gear, various things of that nature. So if you're into guitar and bass or one or the other, go on and hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you as one of my subscribers here on the Rumblin Man channel. So I want to welcome you today. I'm doing something a little different today, not reviewing a piece of gear, but I'm reviewing a video that now I say I in quotes because I no longer identify as this person. In fact, I'm not the same person. I'm pretty sure it's not even me, okay? So here's the thing, guys. I've been a YouTuber for around 8 years, and I've heard the same thing from other YouTubers who've had YouTube channels for a while, and it's this. You know, sometimes we will look back at our earliest videos and be like, what was I thinking? You know, we'd be like, what was my background? Or what was I talking about? Why was I so stupid? Why did I look like that? Honestly, today, I feel pretty terrible about how I looked in this video, some things I said in this video, and just everything about this stupid video, okay? So, my most ever viewed video on YouTube as of today, as far as I know, is a video with 181,046 views. This video I posted in 2013. It's now 2020, so this is just over 7 years old. I had a full head of hair, I had no beard, and I seriously thought I knew everything. And this video, honestly, about, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, I came across this video and saw how many views it had, and I made it private because I watched it and disagreed with some things that I said. I really didn't know what I was talking about. I thought I did. I thought that my view was going to be more researched and better than other people's, but really, you mature, you get into your 30s and everything, and you just find that, you know, you're not a genius after all. You don't really know everything. That is the case with me. So when you see this video, just please keep in mind that I don't think I'm the same guy. I haven't watched this in a while, so what I want to do today, I'm going to watch this video with over 180,000 views. The video is 14 minutes and 45 seconds long, and as it plays, I am going to react to it, and I am going to just talk about it. I think I disabled comments at some point. It looks like 1,000 people gave me a thumbs up. But seriously, you know, it just to display the life of a YouTuber. You know, sometimes you grow as a YouTuber, as a musician, as a gear reviewer, and as a person. And I thank the good Lord above that I have grown a lot since this video. So guys, let's check this out together. My most viewed video to date. Let's react to my precision bass versus jazz bass video from 2013. There it is, Rumblin Man. Here's the P bass. I can do this. What's the difference? Great graphic, Rumblin Man.
The precision bass and the jazz bass. Two classic basses, both created by Fender.
What was I eating? I look like I'm eating.
Both that have set a musical standard that is unparalleled.
Nice southern accent.
Two designs that began the electric bass as we know it, and that knockoff companies have copied over hundreds of times, sometimes successfully, and sometimes not so successfully.
What are you referring to, Rumblin Man?
Nonetheless, the original Fender models ring out as truth as America's and the world's preferred bass guitars. Recreations, updates, and all. What holds true today in the modern climate is getting as close to the original Fender jazz bass and Fender precision bass designs as possible.
That's not necessarily
Vintage
true.
is the key word today.
That's not vintage is the key word. Well,
when
maybe.
I first started playing bass,
That's really not true.
I didn't know that there was a difference between these two basses much at all.
You still don't know.
Other than playability. But I'm here to tell you today that after years of study and after years of being a bassist and being in music professionally, I can tell you that these two basses, though they look similar at a glance, couldn't be more different in terms of sound, tone, playability, and build. So in this short video, we're going to discuss a little bit of history and exactly what makes these two basses, the Fender Precision Bass and the Fender Jazz Bass, uniquely different. Or Rumblin Man, as I'm known on the web. I decided to make this video.
I bleeped that out
this
because I
is an
said my
issue that
name,
absolutely needs to
and
be discussed.
I do a whole different other business as my name, so these days it's just Rumblin
In
Man.
1951, Fender issued the original P-Bass.
Oh, I thought I was going to blow everybody out of the
It
water
was
with my historical
arguably
facts.
the first ever electric bass guitar, whereas going from the typical upright standard, prototype was drawn up in 1950 and then modified and released in 51 as the original electric bass guitar, Fender Precision Bass.
I thought my hair looked good.
Is somewhat different from the one you see today. In fact, the original design was made somewhat to mirror
But I really
a Fender
looked
Telecaster
stupid.
guitar and have a similar body shape to
I
that.
really look stupid in this
But to
video.
be a 4-string bass guitar, obviously a little longer, being somewhere around 34.
I love that room
35
I had, though. That was in
inches,
Washington.
as far as the
Could have closed the door behind
goes.
me, I guess.
Later in the 1950s, around 1957 and 1958, the design of the P-Bass was completely revisited. It had originally had one pickup, which was a single coil pickup. In the late 50s, what they did was they changed that. They made it into a split coil pickup. So it's still almost as if it's a single coil pickup, but it's split for fatter tone, better receiving. Also, the body shape was
fatter tone
was
and better
completely
receiving?
redesigned and redesigned to look more like a Stratocaster guitar.
The split coil pickup
Obviously bigger and being a bass
becomes a
guitar.
humbucker because you have
This
two
set the
pieces,
standard
all right,
for what
the
is
opposite
now
polarities thing,
the
like
Precision
with
Bass.
both pickups on a
And
jazz
as of
bass.
1968,
It's a split
the
pickup to
original
buck the
design
hum.
was re-released
Okay,
and
that's why
named
it's a
the,
split pickup,
the Telecaster bass.
and it does have a little bit better of a
Today,
sound than a
though,
single coil.
Reissues that mimic the original 50s design will usually carry the name, 50s reissue.
I didn't
There
really
are
know what
also
I was
some
talking
great
about.
Fender reissue
I
basses
did
of the later 50s
a
models,
little
a
bit,
road-worn
a little
one and
bit.
a
I
non-road
knew,
one.
but I really didn't know.
And essentially,
Didn't
what
even
we're
know what a
seeing is
P-bass
we're seeing
pickup
in the
does.
1950s, we're seeing this bass be created, and then in the late 1950s, we're seeing a total makeover that is still the standard today. And then through the 60s
You need a
and 70s, there were
makeover,
some trends
Rumblin'
like the
Man.
thumb rest and
Shave your
whatnot.
head,
But what has always
grow a
stayed true
beard,
is
move
the
to Florida.
pickups, the split coil, and the shape of the bass. The pick guard is going to have that curve to it, and you can know a P bass when you see it. And also, as far as modern playing goes, it is still the standard. In fact, I know a lot of the key bass players in today's music world, and I'm telling you, in
So
popular
important.
music, the P bass is still the dominant bass guitar. It's gone through
Not
modifications
really.
over the years, but
No,
in
wrong.
the modern music
Okay.
world, what's popular is the vintage model of the 60s and sometimes of the 50s.
No, not. Here's the thing. At the
In
time,
1960,
P-bass
Fender came out with its second
had
bass
made a
model.
huge
It
resurgence.
was
Okay, and
initially
it's
called
still
the
called upon a
Deluxe
lot,
model, and it was actually made to be similar.
But it's not
to
the only bass
Jazz
in the
Master
world
guitar. However, through
that the
some
pros are using. That's
modifications
just
and a
stupid.
redesigned neck,
Give me a break.
in 1961,
All right, we'll
we
talk
saw
about
it
jazz
being
bass
called
now.
The jazz bass, because Fender,
Which I
created
knew
this
even less
bass
about.
hoping it would mainly appeal toward jazz players because of its neck shape and because of some versatility. As of 1961, it had 3 knobs on it. The 3 knobs are, for instance, there are 2 different pickups on this bass, which is the first difference we see, and there's a volume knob for each one of them, and then there's a tone knob. Those are the 3 knobs.
I talked like an idiot.
And the jazz bass really
back
changed things in terms of the neck being slimmer, more easy to get around, a nice
That
narrowing
thick Southern
design.
accent, man.
And it really revolutionized several types of music, and it's a bass guitar that stays prevalent today. The tone is going to be a lot different than the P-Bass, and the original word that Fender used to describe it was bright. And today, it's the dominant bass guitar in most genres, such as like funk, disco, reggae, blues, heavy metal, jazz fusion, and slap bass.
Maybe
because
so.
what you're going to get
Maybe
is with that brightness
an active one,
that comes from those
right?
2 pickups. You're going to get
Or Music Man.
better sounds for
What about Music
slap,
Man?
a little bit more definition. I kind of refer to the jazz bass as kind of a sword, because whereas it seems that the P bass is punch, the jazz bass is a cut. And for musicians that want
I see what he's
their
saying.
bass guitar to sound like it's coming through a little more in the overall mix, the jazz bass was then and is now still a very obvious choice.
That's the thing I stand by, is that the jazz bass will cut through a mix.
Let's talk about
while the
tone
P
and
bass will
physique,
kick
what makes
into a
these
mix. They
basses
kind of do a
play
different thing,
and
but the
sound
jazz bass can
as
kick
they
too.
are. Here's a P bass.
You get a PJ, it'll
This
do both.
is actually a Squire rendition, classic vibe series, but an excellent bass at that.
That was a good bass.
And it is made to closely mirror the original 1960s designs, whereas we did see in the 1960s some new designs come about. Now, what makes it unique? What makes it special? Well, just as we mentioned earlier, this split coil pickup. I like to generally refer to the P bass as having a great punch to it. You know,
I was so lucky that my wife was dating me at the time that I made this video.
Effects and everything, but a P bass.
And I hope she sees how far I've come in life and what a cooler guy I am today.
Just a passive P bass just has a special kick to it that really kicks into the mix,
In fact,
really
I know she
gels
does.
with the drums. Also, body shapes we're going to see that are very defining of this bass are this pickguard design. You'll know a P bass because of this curvy pickguard design. I actually changed the pickguard on this one. And also the neck is going to be different than the jazz bass because the neck is going to be more thick. It doesn't necessarily get really narrow as you go down. It's going to stay pretty thick.
I would call that wide, not thick.
Some would say that it's harder to get around, but others would say that the P bass is a man's instrument.
What are you, a sexist?
That has a legacy.
It's a man's instrument.
Because today it
that
still
was not
delivers.
the right way
fact,
to
this is
word
my
whatever I was
primary
trying to
bass
say.
right now, believe it or
I've seen
not.
plenty of females
And it cost
play a
me
P
less
bass.
than $400, I believe. In fact, recently I played on a rock album. I played this bass on every track except I played the jazz bass on one track. You're definitely
big a
going to
dumb
get a
as I
different
was.
tone and a different playing experience out of a P bass than you will of a jazz bass.
I did play on a rock album back then. I don't know why anyone would have me play. I look so
Let's talk
stupid.
about the jazz bass. The body's going to look different. Whereas in the P bass, the pickguard's going to come down to here. You're going to see your tonal knobs right here. Also, like we mentioned,
That was a cool jazz bass, man.
Each has a control
I don't
knob
have either
for its
one
own
anymore.
volume. So if you want, you can just hear this pickup, or just this pickup, or both blended together, or any combination of blending.
Love the
You can
sound
do
of
these two
traffic in the
knobs,
background.
And also, just
Why don't you
like
get a
we do on the
microphone,
P-bass,
Rumblin Man?
whereas the P bass has the volume knob and the tone knob. The jazz bass has a tone knob as well. And this tone knob all the way up, you can get some great slap sounds. It really is an awesome bass. And the neck is going to be thinner. It's going to be more narrow. It's going to slim down as you go. To where, right here, look what I can do. I can do this. I can do it with my pinky. Put my fingers around that. And it's a jazz bass is generally more guitar player friendly. For a guitar player that's switching over to bass,
I would never
the feel is going to be easier for a guitar player
make
to
it
get
through
used to
this
playing.
video
The
if I had not made it.
It's going to be like a sword that cuts through the mix, whereas the P
There's
bass
the sword
is
again.
like a kick that kicks into the mix.
I already made that point.
Nonetheless, it is a versatile instrument. I mean,
Guys, I'm
these
sorry
two
I'm being so
pickups, the
negative, but I
original
really
jazz bass
disagree
that
with
had-
myself as a
or
human
the
being
original
back then.
bass that had a different kind of pickup was the jazz bass, where you could switch off between these two
soda or
pickups. I
something.
mean, they're still very similar pickups to the original Fender P bass design, but they are different in their own right, and they sound different in their own right. And being able to switch off between these two, you're going to get a different sound in the neck than you are on the bridge. And this bass really adds some diversity into your arsenal, and is just a long-standing favorite of a lot of bass players today. And it's a bass that you're never going to see go away.
I talk
It's
like
been
Bill
modified
Clinton.
over the years.
Gross.
But like I mentioned, the modern thing, this is the American standard Fender jazz bass. The modern thing is to get as closest to the original thing as we can and have the greatest sound and playing experience that we can.
It's like a 5-year-old making a video. Like
I have heard it said that
I
if
talk
you
like a
pick a P
5-year-old.
bass or a jazz bass, either one, you can't go wrong. I personally disagree. These basses couldn't be more different in tone. I mean, and you know what? Let's plug them up.
Oh, no.
And I'm not gonna really label exactly
This is
what's
the
going
really
down. I'm
embarrassing
just gonna
part
plug 'em up
because
and play a little bit just to give you a basic
I
idea.
used no metronome
But the best
back
thing you can
then.
do is
I would just
go to
plug
your
and
local
just do
music store,
something
go to your
totally stupid.
Guitar Center, or if
Check out my new
you've got one of
videos.
those
Here's
Best
a
Buys
link.
with a music store in it,
My
or
videos are
whatever,
really
go
good
to
now.
your
I
local
promise they're
music
really good.
store.
I worked so hard on them, guys.
Spend about an hour. Plug up the P bass, play it, get used to the tone. You know, use this tone knob, see what you like best. Pick up a jazz bass, mess with it, and see what bass is right for you. honestly.
That is a good point.
You're going to
try
notice
them both
playability difference.
before you pick one.
You're going to notice difference in body shape. You're going to notice difference in the
You
tone.
need to eat or something.
And the thing is that neither one of these is necessarily the answer for all bass guitar players. They're friendly to different genres. Quite frankly, if you want to do some slapping and you want that highly defined sound, the P bass is probably not going to be the bass for you, because it's going to have that steady, rock solid kick sound. You're going to want a more articulate sound like the jazz bass.
No, you can slap on a P bass.
You want to use a pick,
you know, that mid-range thump thing, really, the way that pickup sounds, slapping sounds totally cool on it. I would go with jazz.
A little bit too bright for you. You're going to want the P bass.
Jazz bass is never too bright. You can roll off the back pickup and roll off the tone. You can totally slap on a precision bass. What the? What's up with all the buzz I hear? I always thought it was really cool when I did this little routine here. Kids, never do that. Don't try this at home. You could hurt yourself or ruin your life for 6 weeks. Oh, God save me from this moment. No. I'm sorry that you listen to this, guys. I'm sorry. I get it. It's a demonstration of the two ideal sounds or whatever. Funny thing is, back then, you know, I was doing some studio stuff, and when I would get in the studio and like play on like a project, you know, sometimes I did some pretty good playing, but you put a bass in my hands and tell me to play for you by myself, and I would just do the stupidest stuff like this. You would never think I was an actual musician from this. You would never think I had been. That blog is gone. I got rid of my Tumblr. And then no closing words, just stopped it there because I had mic dropped, right? I had mic dropped. I had played really good and I mic dropped. Wrong. It's seriously like an 11-year-old made a video about the precision bass and the jazz bass. Guys, a lot has changed in my life since then. A lot has changed. I'm not the same person. So please don't judge my current channel from a video that I made 7 years ago as a young idiot. YouTube was nowhere near as saturated with bass content as it is today. And so at the time there was only one other video, and I had disagreed with some of its points. So I decided I'm going to give people the real info. But I just didn't really know my facts. I didn't really have the inner workings of bass guitar understood. And then when it came to making a good and presentable YouTube demo, I had no idea what that was. I would just grab the bass and do some random licks and slap around or whatever. So I've come a long way, guys. So please subscribe to me if you'd like to see more videos about bass guitar stuff. Or at least please subscribe to me out of sympathy for what I just had to go through. There it is, guys. There it is. But yeah. I think I meant well, but I came at it from just such a stupid way. So I apologize to you guys that when I started YouTube, I was such an idiot. But if you will subscribe to me now on the Rumblin Man channel and give this video a thumbs up. If you give it a thumbs down, please don't. Please give it a thumbs up, and just out of sympathy for what I had to go through just now and what you had to go through just now. If you're still watching, then that really impresses me. I'd like to thank my good friend Low End Lobster for the video idea. Thanks, Lobster. Kind of killed my my day, but yeah. So anyway, guys, feel free to subscribe to the channel or be one of my patrons or something. And thanks for watching. I'm going to go do something else. Peace.